again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with the continuation, and I believe the conclusion of the C2C Kaleidoscope Blanket. Want to thank all of you for joining me today. Today, we're not really going to be doing anything new. I'm just being 100% honest with you. It's not so much, about doing anything new or novel today. It's really more about a sense of tying up loose ends, no pun intended, a sense of conclusion, finality, if you will. And so today we are going to be working on the last edge. Just previously we did our triangles. I love how these came out. And so this for me is going to be the last of the tiers. Now, of course, you can do as many as you want to. Just keep in mind, of course, that it is going to get bigger and bigger at a rather extreme rate. And of course, it'll take more and more yarn to finish each tier. But that being said, today we are going to start from the center. Actually, you know what? I'm kind of partial to working with the horizontal ones first. So let's do that. It really does not make a huge difference, but I don't know, I just kind of like working with these a little bit better. And also we're going to start with our white yarn so that it will blend with what we have currently going on. And basically, this line here, we're going to have continue up to a point in the form of a triangle and then come back down and then line up with this line here. So basically, imagine an invisible line going through here, and that's going to create sort of like an optical trick about, the blanket is going to look sort of like it's layered, even though it's one flat homogeneous piece. You'll see. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, so since we have a horizontal block to begin with, going to be doing a vertical block up from here. Now, if it was a vertical block right here, we would start with a horizontal, which would mean the chaining up of 6, doing a double into the 4th chain, and then into the next 2, locking it into place. This is why I like working with, the vertical ones to begin with, because I like doing the, we're doing a horizontal block here, so it means we get a vertical here, which I prefer. So I think you understand where I was going with that, right? So grabbing my new yarn, chaining up 3, and then 3 doubles. And then our 4th one, well, we're going to chain 3 and slip stitch to the base, like so. Chain 3, scooch over here. Now, because it's the same color, white on white, I could quite easily go underneath here, but I'm still going to go into that stitch there, do my slip stitch anchor. There we go. And then we get to turn our work. So today, it's really not so much about technique or anything terribly new. Just gonna, hang out, do a bit of stitching, and, chit-chat a little bit perhaps. Okay, so from here, need to work underneath this bar. So now, technically speaking, this one counts as our first bar, so could do another one. Actually, I can make that a little bit tighter, don't you think? There we go. So 1 and 1 more. Chain 3 and slip stitch to anchor. Okay. I have so much fabric going on here, my goodness. Actually, let me just raise up my angle a wee bit. There we go. All right, so we need a horizontal block on top of here, which means chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Double into the 4th. double into the next 2 chains, and then we get to anchor. There we go. There we go. Okay, then anchor it down underneath this bar here. Okay, can cinch your tail up. Then working underneath this bar, which means I need to chain 3, then 3 doubles underneath this bar. It's 1, 2, and 3. Anchor it down. And there we go. Chain 3, anchor it down, and then turn our work. And then we'll do another row, etc., etc., etc. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep on keeping on, adding more of these rows until we have reached, like I said, it's sort of like an invisible line, if you will. Now, looking at our piece here, okay, looking at our piece, so we have this line that we're currently working with, this solid line. So we have a point, and then if we keep going with the points of these blocks, you see, we've got point, 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 right? So if we want to keep going on in that same fashion, I wouldn't work off of this block here. I would work off of this block here to continue that point, if you will. So I think I'm going to work up to this particular block here, which means that I need to do a total of 1, 2, 3 more rows for this particular triangle. And I figure I will end there, and we will see how it looks, if it lines up nicely with our existing line work. And if it does, we will then swap colors and go from there. So I'm going to keep at it. I will be right back. Okay, so I've been stitching along. Not really that much actually was needed. So you can see that this diagonal line goes perfectly. The irony is that there are 6 boxes here, and here I only needed to go 5 from the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, the diagonal follows along beautifully. So from here, now going to swap to a new color. I already cut my yarn, and so I think I'm going to swap over to the black yarn, and then from there go into the green, and then finally going to go into the white so that it'll look nice and framed. Again, we're going to do the same sort of trick when we get to about this point. So from here, yeah, I'm going to swap over to the black yarn. And let me just grab this real quick, grab my hook. Now, how I like to begin this is I'm going to start in the same vicinity that I ended. So going to go into that stitch there. Now, actually what I could do, pardon me, is start as if I was beginning from this side that I ended on here. Insert the hook into that stitch. Grab my new yarn here. I know I'm the example of doing things on the fly here. All right, so pull up the new loop out of that stitch there, chain 3, then turn my work. Not altogether necessary, but hey. All right, so then from there, no, I still need to I still need to lock into this stitch over here. There we go. Like that, starting our foundation. And then, yes, finally, right? Okay, got the tail out of the way there. And then going to be working underneath this bar right here. I just like having this already set up. It makes it look a little bit neater. So from here, add a couple of doubles. That's 2. So technically we have 3. I could add 1 more just for stuff and giggles, as I say. So I'm going to add 1 more, flesh it out a little bit better, then chain 3, and anchor it down. There we go. And then continue on in the usual fashion. Now, what I'm probably going to do is, I don't know, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 rows with the black. What I'd like to do is try to divide up my space evenly between the black that I'm currently working on and the green that I will be working on, leaving enough room for the white border. So haven't figured out how many rows exactly I'm going to do just yet, but I'm going to do a couple of these black rows, then do a couple of the green rows, and then figure it out. So based on the number that I have available to me, okay, if I follow the same sort of logic, see, we have this block, this block, this block, this one, and this one. It just goes straight across here. So I would like for the white border to start in this block here, because then it would be sticking up in the sort of sawtooth fashion, right? So if that is the case, if this is where the white starts, I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ah, okay, so if I've got 12 total, then I can do 6 in black, then 6 in green, and then do the rest in the white. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, okay. All right, that could work. So that is, I think, what I'm going to do. You know, it's not a tremendous amount of planning and figuring, but it goes a long way. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a total of 6 of these black boxes, then switch colors, do a total of 6 of the green, and then at that point, we should be, you know, right about where we want to be as far as finishing it up with the white. Okay, so I'm going to get to work, and I will see you shortly. Alrighty. Alrighty, so we have the squares of the white, 6 rows of the black, 6 rows of the green, and now if my calculations are correct, we can start in with the white. Now, of course, what I am doing, it is just a basic framework that you can either follow or adapt or really what have you. I mean, the choice is totally up to you, how often you change your colors, what colors you use, etc., etc. It's a fabulous thing because the technique is one thing, the placement of colors is another, and what it is that you ultimately decide to do, well, that's totally up to you. So, got my slip stitch, my chaining of 3. Let's join to that next stitch and proceed, shall we? Okay, and gonna pull my tail just a wee bit. There we go. And then we're gonna work into this bar right here with a couple of doubles. Scooch that down just a bit. Let's add another one, and then we'll do our chain 3. There is a little bit of wiggle room. You can add one or not. There you go. So that is our first block done. Actually, this is the second time that I'm filming this because the first time I accidentally was crocheting with the tail, not the actual working yarn. It happens to me too. All right, so then we got our chaining of 3, and then our slip stitch, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to keep on keeping on with the white for the remainder of this triangle for this section of the tier. And in theory, it should look pretty darn cool once we're done. And then I can essentially go on autopilot for the remainder of the 3 sides. Very exciting. And then we will be essentially done. All right, so there you go. I'm gonna keep on keeping on, and I will meet back up with you in a little bit. Hello again. All right, we are in the living room. I have what I have worked on all laid out so it's easier to see. So this is the section that we just created with the triangle in the center, 6 rows of the black, 6 rows of the green, and then at the very end, it's actually 6 of the white, because you don't want to work this end one here, because if you did, then on the other side, I did the same thing. If you did work all of them, then you wouldn't end up with this really cool deckled edge. So yeah, you don't want to go and work on top of this little block here, otherwise it's not going to look quite the same. So that being said, you now have options. Now I didn't finish the other 2 sides just to show you as an example. I am going to finish those off camera, but from here you do have several options. If you are so inclined, you could add another tier on top of this, a triangle on this edge that I'm showing right now, and so on and so forth. You could, however, as I said before, the more tiers you do, the more yarn is required, and it keeps growing at a rather exponential rate. So that being said, if you don't want to do an entire tier, what you can do is, because we have this deckled edge, you can just do a couple of rounds, going around the entire perimeter of your blanket. If you want to make your project a few inches bigger all the way around, you can. Just do a bunch of rounds after, of course, you finish this and this side here. Just do a couple of rounds, and that's what I did for my demo piece. I did a couple of rounds of black just to sort of frame it, make it look a little bit more polished, a little bit more finished. And that is, of course, a great trick if you want to make it a little bit bigger, but you feel, yes, it's done. It's a lap throw. We're good. Let's cease and desist. So there you go. The corner-to-corner kaleidoscope blanket and our crochet along has come to a close. I want to thank all of you ever so much for joining me. I really hope that you liked this series and that you learned something new. And, of course, as always, I encourage you to think outside of the box, to experiment with color and the placement of the color, different colors, not just 3, you could do 4, 5, 6, however many you want. But like I said earlier, I would strongly suggest if you use 5 colors, be sure to use each of them at least more than once throughout your project so that it has a cohesive flow. If you used, say, a bright yellow, right here, and then you didn't use it anywhere else in the project, it would be like a beacon, and your eyes would be like a moth to a flame, and your eyes would fixate on that one point. So go crazy with colors, but strongly suggest, have some dispersion throughout. Otherwise, it's going to be sort of a beacon effect. At any rate, have fun, play around with design, play around with color, and you might be surprised with the results. So, that being said, thank you again, and you know what to do until next time, right? I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching, and please, stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now, everybody, and have a great day.